All right, welcome to this latest Stampscapes Friday Night Live. I'm going to not do any stamping here today, but we'll be looking at a little bit of a sneak preview for the new designs that are being released probably over this weekend. And I'll just flip through these. I'll mention the sizes and whatnot. You can see the sizes up here and the names of the stamps, but these are brand new, and these are things that I've been working on over the last, I don't know, maybe, I don't know, it's been a while. Some of these I've had kind of in sketch form for quite some time. But I'll talk about them briefly, but I'll go through these rather quickly. I'll just give a kind of a general concept where it's needed, and we'll just go from there. Hello, Villas. How are you this Friday evening? Hope you're well. All right, this is the Mystic Trees. It's a 5-inch wide, pretty wide, by 3.5 inches tall. It represents a foreground here, and this represents something like water down here, but it could be land and whatnot. I see this, I call them mystic because I see them as kind of like an ink painting, kind of in that Chinese style sort of terrain, real mystical. And the thing about these ones here is I'm doing these designs where they can be used and incorporated in with other stamps um, in kind of a seamless fashion side by side. But those types of paintings, there's a lot of space in between them in this cloudy kind of mystical type of atmosphere. All right, so that's why I don't have like heavy shadowing down here or a reflection of the imagery, and that'll follow suit with all of these. Hello, Jeannie, good to see you. All right, so this one's the left side right here, and this is a right side, so they can go like this. I don't know. If I had a light table, you can kind of see through it, but you can kind of see right here a little bit. You can stagger these like this, okay? And these ones right here with the following designs will be really good in kind of a vertical type of format here. So you can use portions of it like this, or you can have this coming in from this side as well. Okay, as a right side type of thing, but I mean a left side type of thing. But there you go right there. It's kind of the foundation for these. And you can do these on larger formats too, but they're also designed for your standard card size piece as well. And it would fill in, that's a photo paper right there, but it would fill in from edge to edge nicely like that. You can use these in conjunction with their sibling designs like this left and right side, or this can just be like an open body of water right here too. This could be the open body of water down here, and this could be the background. You can put in some foreground here, something like the ledge or some trees like that, right? And put whatever you want in here to kind of create a shallower area of space. But you could put in backgrounds in here as well, but you can have it more intimate as well. And like I said, you put grass down here, it's grassy terrain, rocks, whatever. You color it in blue or whatever and make it a water terrain, and you can have your water elements down here. You can even use the seaside cove in here if you want to, and plant this right up here on the left and right side for a very different terrain. These are kind of the wind sculpted trees of, you see those in those kind of mystical ink paintings and whatnot, and I really like that. The silhouette of these trees are something that I really like. Hello, Linda B. Hello, CM. Hello, Paulette. Good to see you. Hello, Froggy Fresh. I'm cutting them out right now, Jeannie. I need to do some impression tests of everything like that, but I took a look at the plates and the rubber, and my engraver got these things down really, really good. There's a lot of tight detail in here, and I can just tell from eyeballing the magnesium plates if they got all of that tight little detail in there and whatnot, and they did. The plates look amazing. My engraver's been awesome over these last maybe 15 years when I switched to a new one, and it's, I think they're the biggest engraver in the country, but as far as consistency goes, it's really awesome. Okay, so these are like your foreground types of elements if these are used in conjunction with one another. Hello, Candy. Okay, so see this one right here, Mystic Hidden House. You see this little house in here. I can't zoom in. That's why I don't have my yucky face up here in the corner of this video right now, so we can just concentrate on the imagery right here. But this is a little house right here. Okay, so you can use something like this. And I wish I had a little light table that I don't know. I should have had a little light table here. I think I have a little portable one that I could use, but see a little house right back in here that can be used on this side. So you have this. Whenever I'm doing these types of things like this, I talked about it briefly in another video at some point in time, but when you're doing these types of scenery like this, and you have this going like this, and you have this kind of S-curve type of entrance or visual path within a scene, you know what I mean? It doesn't have to be stamping, it's landscapes, whatever. Photography, photographers have to look for that, you know, and kind of compose kind of a position like that. But you see this right here, you see this little element like this could be in the foreground right here, and you can do this, you know, as the far type of thing coming out like that. But here's this little hidden house nestled in this little area, kind of giving it that, I don't know, it's like a Zen-like type of formatting here. But what I was mentioning about clouds being in between these types of things, we don't have to connect them up, because in those types of paintings, what you often get is mist in between these types of elements like this. Let me see if I can kind of fold this over like that. So you can have all these areas in here, but then what you do is you ink these up and you just blot it off, like what I've been doing a lot over the years, you know what I mean? But these images are really catered for that. So like I said, I didn't anchor these down heavily with, you know, a shadow or anything like that. So you can kind of wipe off this bottom portion so that it looks like a really mystical kind of Zen-like terrain like that. You can even do that with these trees right there, where this one's overlapping, so you can get that depth of field and that separation, but they're connected up with. You can use it with color, but you can also use it with negative space and have this be your foggy type of atmosphere, and that would look perfectly suitable because that's where these images kind of come from. So that being said, it's really easy, you know, kind of compositions that we're talking about, because that separation and empty space between the places are tailor-made to this type of terrain, okay? So that's that. Here's another one right here, and see how that would go, like right over here, like this, okay? So you get this lighter type of cliff structure like that, but I made it heavier on the top so that, you know, we can just stamp this down, and then we can just take this and stamp it right over the top of it, or you do this one first, this one over the top of it. You can do this in a gray tone or a lighter color so that it recedes in the distance, and have this right here. So you can get this right here. Like I said, I need like a light table or something like that showing through. I should get a flashlight or something like that. But left and right side like that. So a little bit different with each one of these, but these ones could also just be used like that. And again, you know, like your seaside cove or something like that can be used in here. You can just create a lake type of thing. This can go up here. If you don't have those other larger ones, you can take this one right here and then also use it down here, and this will be your foreground like that. So you're kind of narrowing that space a little bit in terms of the representative distance between this and another impression of it up here. But you could. But here's the thing too. I made these areas right here possible, where if this is like something like this, and these match up, so this can be this little island, and you can put it in the middle of a scene somewhere. So that goes the same thing for these other ones as well. You can match up the left and right side, where they're kind of more of a central focus like that. So these ones right here, it's not so mirrored, so I changed a lot of the things, like, you know, in the silhouette, so that if you do this type of pairing right here, you know what I mean? It can blend together and not just look like, you know, a complete mirrored impression of that right there. So anyway, let's see, this is 443. I think I'm feeling an earthquake right now. Oh, I'll have to look at that smaller. I thought I'd have to duck and cover in a live broadcast here. Huh. Well, we'll see if anything hits again. All right, but anyways, that was weird. Okay, so those mystic types of terrains like that, you get all these types of hills. You've probably seen those kind of mystic hills, and I don't know, they're in Vietnam and China and whatnot like that. Okay, so you get near ones and far ones in the distance like that. And again, you see how this kind of tapers off like this at the bottom? It's because they're oftentimes seen in this cloudy type of formation right around here. You could pair them together where they're attached, okay, like this, all right? And you can make as long of a terrain as you want, but having it spaced out like this, even on this white piece of paper like this, you know, you can see how these would have that cloudy look right in here. Add a little bit of tone in there, gray tones or whatever. And, you know, you can add most of your color to these pieces like that and have that cloudy mist in between, like all of your different objects in here. I think it'll be the easiest types of compositional arrangements that you can possibly do because of that negative empty space in between there. That's really what these images are about. They're kind of, you know, if you're using these in that type of format and composition, that's really what these pieces are going to be about. It's going to be about that feeling of, I don't know, that zen-like quality that you would see on kind of a foggy, cloudy day, you know what I mean? Where the atmosphere is very quiet because of all the moisture in the air and whatnot. There's a stillness to it, and there's this kind of this peaceful type of atmosphere, I guess, emotional type of you know, staging that you can do in here. Okay, so yeah, print them on transparency. That's a good way to do it, Froggy Fresh. A lot of people do that. Were you one of those people that do that? They stamp, you know, with like a stays on like Mylars or something like that for your compositions. If people don't know what we're talking about, you know, people would, you can stamp, you know, if you're using rubber stamps like this, or wooden ones too, you take this and you stamp it on like clear acetate or something like that. And then you can combine all of these different pieces. You don't wipe it off and clean it off afterwards. You have like one of these little things for your things. I know people that keep these in different like photo sleeves and stuff like that. And then they might keep the Mylar in with it or something like that. And then they can just compose with all of their transparencies and, you know, before they even kind of approach their works on paper. I know some people that used to do that, and those are really good in terms of kind of your more kind of in-depth types of multi-stamp types of compositional arrangements. Okay, so let's see. Froggy Fresh ordered some pizza. That sounds good. What do you get on your pizza? I think I've mentioned in these live streams before. I worked at 2 different pizza places in my employment history, and I loved that job. But I opened up to you eating a lot of different types of toppings on pizzas back then. You know, I'm a high school kid working in one place, and you know what I mean? I've been eating pepperoni pizza my whole life and not, you know, branching out and eating a bunch of other things. But over there, you know, I ended up eating pretty much every combination and of a topping. Okay, bamboo branch. Okay, so this is this type of terrain like this. Oftentimes, you know, you see bamboo types of arrangements. These don't have to be kind of that Chinese look, okay, or something like that, but they're derivative of that. So we had our Chinese thing. If you're familiar with the oak branch stamp, where's my oak branch? I don't know, I always have that right next to me. But instead of the oak branch, we have these bamboo types of arrangements like this, leaf structures like this in your foreground, okay, so you can frame off your scene with it. This is made kind of curling in like this, but it's large enough, you know what I mean? You can use these portions right here coming in from the other side, you know what I mean? You can have this coming up from your bottom of your scene. Let's imagine this, your video screen here is on your composition or something like that. You know, this can be coming up from the bottom like this, and you can have those misty hills in the background or something like that sort. Okay, so I made it large because you can use it large too on a larger format, but you know, like with my oak branch and things like that, I often use like smaller portions of it depending on the density of foreground imagery that I want. If it's really light and airy and I want like heavy kind of framing, then I'll stamp something like this right here, and then I'll stamp it again down here to double layer it, you know, but then you can also just use like these smaller portions of it down there if you want to. All right. So that is that. Okay, so individual stamps like that. We have these structures like that placed on the, the terrain. You guys know the drill on how those types of things are used. Often, we have separate things like this for our pine types of things. This is a pine tree right here, but they're often like really sculpted because they're, growing at, I don't know, elevation and the weather terrains in these types of areas. So they tend to look like these little bonsai types of natural trees like that. So I've often seen this type of thing in higher elevations when I've gone hiking, I don't know, 7,000 feet, areas that get covered in snow a lot, and you get these types of pine trees growing out of, cracks in the rocks or something like that, but really stylized. Sometimes they're growing downward or something like that, but this type of thing like this can be used in foregrounds or whatnot around these types of elements like that. You can have it coming in like this. I mean, even stuff like this. I mean, if you're doing it in a really elongated piece, you can have this coming in from the bottom like this. And this could be your foreground type of imagery. You can use it in its entirety, put a word stamp or something like that for a real kind of Zen-like simplistic card, right? It's kind of, conducive for that type of thing. Or you can put it down here. You can see this type of thing up here. And you can have some foreground trees coming from the bottom, okay? Now, as I'm mentioning all these different types of things, these are these are the types of things I'm thinking about when I'm doing these types of designs. So I'll do something like this, and I'll think, okay, this is kind of bending one way, so I'll do it in a smaller version like this, okay? So this is 2 1/8. This is 3 by 3.6. This is 3.7 by 4.5. So not, I still want this as a kind of a foreground, but you have this one kind of coming in from the background like that. So you can see this smaller one like that. And again, so you can do something like this. So you're creating that kind of that visual path entryway that, it's not just a straight line like that. You're breaking it up and you have these things leaning in like that. Because chances are, if you're doing a card or something like that, it's like this. So if I have downward kind of imagery like this pointing, these are like pointing fingers for our subject matter that we're typically putting somewhere, in the middle of a scene. So like I said, if this card is like this size, you'd have these like that. You have your little rowboat or something like that. You have visual clues like that. They're like little pointers for your subject matter, or you can put a word stamp or something like that. Whatever you want your viewer to look at, I try to give those types of things to give us a little bit of a head start in terms of kind of the pertinent subject matter that we want, of where we want to direct our viewer's eye, you know what I mean? And these are directing their viewer's eye in towards whatever your compositional elements are, okay? All right, let's see here. Froggy Fresh remembers the earthquake of 94. 94. Which one was that? That might have been... I'm trying to remember. Was that the Northridge earthquake? There was one, I don't know, there was a couple big ones. Whittier earthquake in, at least in terms of Southern California. All right, so the bending pines, okay? All right, so changing subject matters right here. This is a mishmash of designs right here, okay? I've been wanting some baby sea turtles for a long time. But, in particular to go with the Seaside Cove, okay? So the Seaside Cove's up here. You got little baby sea turtles. People have been asking me about that one for like, I don't know, 25 years. So there we go, crawling out to sea. I see these, being used with my Seaside Cove up here. And then can you imagine this, a moon like this, shining on the water and, illuminating these little turtles like that. So I did them in a couple different sizes. So let's say, see, these have kind of a directional area like that. So I would typically put those like on a Seaside Cove, or, you know what I mean? You can do whatever type of seaside element like that, probably, I wouldn't put them out in the forest or something like that. But see, these are going this way. So it's kind of conducive if you want to play, do a, rule of thirds type of thing, like on a card like this, I would put the moon like right over here where these turtles are going this way and moving out in that direction. I'd probably put them on the left-hand side and they're going into the scene like that, okay? I typically wouldn't put them like this, where they're kind of leading out like that. I guess I could if it's like a multi-page thing where you're turning pages like this, and then they're kind of going off the page, and that's conducive to, getting the person to want to see, oh, I want to see what's on the next page. But, we're typically doing cards where it's a one-shot thing. You can put this like this on a triptych, too, where they're, turtles like this, another scene right here, and another one over here where you get turtles coming in like this, and maybe the moon's in the center one or something like that. That would be really cool. But here's the smaller one like this, and they're going that way. So that's the reason why I'm doing that type of thing like that, okay? But you can also use these in conjunction with one another. If it's a larger beach like this, here's that type of visual movement. The viewer's eye would start right here, and then they would go like that, okay? So it's this little visual path right here, and there's, you heard those S-curve type of thing. It's like on French curves and whatnot. It's this really graceful kind of motion that you would add to a composition like this. So you'd have your moon out here, and then the viewer's eye would go like this. They would follow this path right here. It's kind of like a little ride instead of, the visual path just being like this. You know what I mean? It's a little bit more exciting to have something like that, like a, I don't know, roller coaster or something like that. You know what I mean? There's turns and things like that within this area like that. So you have your moon out here, boom, boom, boom. Or you just have, I don't know, you can have your moon like something like that too. I'm saying moon. I mean, I think that's when baby sea turtles often kind of hatch. They can gauge like temperatures or something like that, when there's probably less predators or something like that. So I think, there's this clock in them that can kind of time, I don't know, their emergence from their, their whatever, their hatchery or whatnot, try to make your way down to the water. So let's see here. Froggy Fresh got pepperoni and extra cheese. Ryan doesn't like almonds and chicken on pizza. I don't hear almonds too often. But that sounds like the type of stuff. I like all types of pizzas. The only combination that I'll eat it, but I didn't like it too much. I'm not against onions, but I didn't like the pepperoni and onions too much. These days I put everything on it. My son's typically just, he's straight pepperoni now. Oh, Jeannie's from New York. That's right. New York pizza. Let's see. Okay. Hello, Sandy. Hello in Perth. Hello, Janet. In Canada. Okay. Badlands Range. Just looking for a different type of, backdrop for scenery and whatnot. This is kind of Badlands. You would see that in, your desert types of terrains and whatnot. But you'd also see this up at elevation, like in, what's it? Like northern Arizona or something like that. You know what I mean? You get pine trees, and you do get pine trees looking like some of these ones, right in here. I mean, you can use whatever you want, you know what I mean? People think of deserts as, just barren a lot of times, but, in the higher elevations and desert areas, there's pinyon pines. It's full of trees and stuff like that, but it just depends on what elevation you're talking about. If you're talking about like sea level in deserts, there's less type of vegetation, oftentimes like I don't know, like a Death Valley or something like that, And the sand dunes, those aren't, you know what I mean? The sand dunes are like the Sahara or something like that, There's one little area in Death Valley and whatnot. There's certainly sand dunes in different areas, but this whole area can be filled with terrain. It could have, you know what I mean? The Colorado River runs through the, the Grand Canyon, and that's a lot of water, so something like this. But, okay, so these right here, these spires like this, I really like this look because this type of thing like this would often look really great with your sky types of imagery up here. And why is that? Again, it's because those visual clues like this, these are like pointing up that way. So it's like, look at it, what's up here. So you can put your, nighttime skies or something like that, or just, a cloudy sky like this under, a blue high noon, spring day or something like this with a bunch of, desert wildflowers down here or whatever you want. But you can have this river coming out of here because, those rivers and things like that, those creeks and things like that, the flash floods come from this type of area like this because all this area right here is funneling, like right in here, all this water down. So like right here would be a great place for like a river or something like that, that you'd have water coming in here, foliate this area on the, outsides. You can stack this too. You can have this, more imagery in the background, maybe do it in a lighter tone like this. But I really am excited about using this one in a nighttime type of sky. I love the deserts and, at night and whatnot, with a big full Milky Way out there and whatnot. Okay, let's see here. Kiwi on pizza is gross. What do you mean, like kiwi fruit or something like that? What is that? I ate pineapple on it. I've never heard that. Okay, mushrooms. Don't need to be, say much about something like that. We have our tree trunks and things like that, but especially with the art foamies stamps like this. I wanted some of these mushrooms like for a very long time. I just have one image like this, one in a 7 by 1 inch, so pretty small or something like that. But I just want some of that down in this area like that. Moon and the forest floor are often like these little types of whimsical things like that. I don't know, you can do those different colors if you want to and whatnot. The Alberta Badlands. I'm going to take a look at that sometime. I love exploring Badlands, like in Death Valley. There's Zabriskie Point, and I go hiking in those Badland areas like that. And there's this big, extensive area in this area called the Anza-Borrego State Park too. There should be a ton of wildflowers out there right now, but leaf cluster, roughly the same size as some of my other imagery. This is like the first time I've done like open leaf clustering like that because I want to have, I've been using more colored pencils these days. So you can color, with your paint pen, solid leaves and whatnot because these are somewhat opaque, but these are open leaves like this. So you can color them whatever color you want. Okay, so I see these being stamped out and using them with my colored pencils and whatnot and coloring in these leaves whatever colors I want. So I'm thinking about, fall types of colors or whatnot. But a lot of greens and whatnot too. Or I can just leave them open and have them kind of lighter like that under kind of like a moonlit night or something like that. Or what you do is you stamp those down, in your terrain and whatnot. It could be a dark terrain. And what you do is like on a Star Dream, lapis lazuli, a dark blue type of format like that. You have your moonlit night, and then you color in these leaves with your white paint pen, okay? So I needed open leaves, for some thing like that. It could be, coming in from the side like that, from up above on a card like that, okay? Or they could be coming from below, just like any of the other types of branches that I tend to do. Okay, let's see. I've never heard of kiwi fruit on a pizza. That is really weird. Huh. It's intriguing, though. I'm pretty open in terms of foods. Okay, so winter ash, just a different tree, a couple different sizes. Can you imagine kind of a, you know what I mean? We're seeing a lot of snow out here these days. I tend to like bare trees because I think the silhouettes and the grace of them are a little bit, in terms of a stamp design, a little cooler. You can foliate them and whatnot. You can stamp something like that out and add some paint pen work in there, with your, big paint pens, add a bunch of dots in here and whatnot. But, I think these would look really dramatic in kind of their terrain like that. Can you imagine putting like a little sledder or something like this little skier kind of skiing through this? 2 different sizes, for depth. Stack it up. Do it in like an elongated format too, where this would be really cool. you know, adding it down here on the side like that, and another one up here and up here. And again, you're going for that kind of little staggered thing with something like this. You can do something really simple too, but you know what I mean? I like using a lot of foils and things like that too. So can you imagine it, like I said, here's a piece of lapis lazuli, and taking something like this and stamping it on white on something like this, or embossing it on white. Your different types of foil terrains like that, doing it in white over something like this. Look at this, it's like lizard skin or something like that, huh? That's one of those recollections foils like that. I didn't really like this texturing on here too much when I first got it, but that texturing on there kind of opens it up in terms of the pores a little bit, so ink sticks to this a little bit easier because it's a little bit more porous and textured. So, but anyways, you can add down like white or something like this, their cotton ball and brilliance ink, and just put a couple trees in there. I think that'd look really good. I think these trees would look really good in your reflection cards as well. I love the look of those types of trees reflecting down in the water. So you put this right here, and then put your mirror card down here, and then you'd have that reflecting down in that water like so. Can you imagine kind of a wintry terrain like that with a couple dark trees like that against, I don't know, could be holographic or something like that, reflecting down in that area down here. So anyways, ash trees, winter ash, fire lookout, you know. We're always using cabins and houses and whatnot. We're out in the forest. Why not have a fire lookout? Have it on top of your ledge, something like that. Here's some surrounding trees to kind of have these trees kind of coming down here in the foreground and whatnot. You can have a nice kind of I don't know, sunset type of sky or something like that in the background. Something like this I would probably protect a little bit, you know, in terms of, you know, stamping this out. But if this is stamped out, just like photo stamping or something like this, a colored background under a sunset sky, it would be okay because these are like windows and that would be reflecting the colors of the sky anyway. And if it's warm tones like that on the top of that rooftop, I think it would look fine just to stamp that in there like that. We wouldn't have to kind of stamp this in here and mask it off so that it doesn't have all those colors showing through. You know what I mean? If it's a real dark sunset sky or something like that, maybe. But I don't know, something like that. So this one's a little bit of a larger one like that. But if you want this to not be so prompt, this is, I'll show you in relation to a card like this. This is your, you know, quarter page card like this, and you can see the size relationship or something like this. This is a very dominant type of thing like that. But if you want just a smaller one like this, you know, just to nestle in your scene somewhere, you know, have a little mountain or something like that, I think this would be really cool to have like a couple trees like this, okay, and down here, and then you can put like a really cool kind of word stamp out here or something like that, you know what I mean? Have some clouds out here, but this area right here is kind of looking out in that direction. So all kinds of things like that that you can do. You can put other mountains down here, mountains in the mist, whatever, down here. But I don't know, it's just a different look for kind of structures in our pieces like that. A little bit more of a tower. All right, little Victorian writer. This is a clip out type of thing, but I saw her and I really liked her, and I can see her, you know, riding down a road or something like that. I don't know, whatever, something kind of elegant and whatnot. Just a little thing coming out of her hat, which I really liked. But a little horse like that, so a little bit of a different take on like my lady writer or something like that. My pieces are often like silhouettes, but like I said, I'm doing more like colored pencil coloring type of work these days, so a little bit more of an open spot like that. Okay. Let's see. I can't wait to use the winter ash too, Janet. You know, when I saw that type of tree, and I thought, okay, I need that in the line. Okay, could you see this little guy right here? I love this little guy right here, the child and sled. All right, so he's pulling his little sled like that. But see, this, you know, wouldn't that go really well with that, you know, the winter ash? So you have these winter ash like this in here, and can you imagine this little guy kind of pulling this sled up to a slope? You can put little, you know, little slope up here, soft hills or something like that, whatever. You can put them on a road too, you know what I mean, or something like that. Put them, wherever you want them to go in this type of terrain, and I think it'd be really fun. Okay, let's see. 450's fine. I'm trying to keep these in reasonable order here. So little creature, little people like that, kind of heading into the distance or whatnot, be kind of cool. I'm trying to, envision this with all of my snowy terrain, the snowy creek, snowy, I know, put the river right here or something like this. But I don't know, just some trees on the side like this. I don't know if I do them under like a northern light type of thing, because they shouldn't be going out kind of in the nighttime. But I think that'd be pretty dramatic, though. You can do something like this, and then what you do is you do a little bit of a, take a little bit of a, I don't know, like a blue thing like this, and you make the little shadows coming out from it in your snow if you kind of have those little snowy types of things like that. So I'm making a little bit of tread, or what you do is you take, I don't know, maybe like this blue right here, and then, I'll just do it right on here. See right here, you kind of put their little, footsteps like that. I don't know, you'd have them a little bit closer like that, but like that, and then from that, you do something like that in the snow. So you give them a little bit of a kind of a visual path, right? So not just walking, on top of the snow or something like that, but they're actually impacting it like that, and give them a little bit of a shadow down there like that. So kind of directional lead-ins like this, okay? You can have them right down at the base of something too. Be kind of interesting to put a big mountain up there like that. So you can put some kind of little quote statement on, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step or something like that. Like there's some gigantic, tall peak up here, stamp or Rocky Mountains or something like that. Like he's heading towards, you know what I mean? He wants to go, get the big one, you know what I mean? He wants to climb up to 10,000 feet and, on that little sled. All right, so there's that. Directional types of things. Here's a little fishing buoy like that with a little, going down the little fishing hole or something like that. I would put them on, something like that curvilinear road or something like that, or dirt road would be perfect for that little guy like that. You can put a little pond over here if you want to, pond stamp, or have the edge of the lake right up here, something like that, taking that right over to the, their destination or whatnot. I don't know. I mean, it doesn't have to have the lake in there. It's implied, you know what I mean? Especially if you're working on something, this size like this. But you could if you wanted to, right? You could put, or you can have it really on, in an elongated piece like this. I really like to put the kind of visual clue, cue like that, and have kind of a, pond or something like that over on that side. I think that would be really cool. All right, so going back to those mystical types of things, I needed some kind of anchoring structure like that. So this is something like that represents, okay, so it's the pavilion and bridge, all right? I think that can make like a really dramatic setting like this. It could be with these different types of things on each side. You can use it with the seaside cove, you know what I mean? It just, this mystical type of thing out in the middle of a lake, okay? This thing actually exists in real life, but see, this can go, it's one of those little focal point things, like in the middle of a lake. You can have this in here, like where this thing's like in the distance, or one of those other sibling images to the mystic trees and whatnot. Okay, but kind of focal point thing. This is water right here. Doesn't have to be water. It could be, some kind of a garden or whatnot, where you can put some trees in here and whatnot, but and talk about kind of a visual lead, and it really compels you to enter the scene like that. I didn't leave, this one right here it's pretty small, so it's kind of empty, so you would kind of lead it in there like that and whatnot. Okay, but here's a smaller version of it, for smaller scenes or for just a less prominent role in there. It's still going to be your visual anchor point in a scene like that. So this one's, kind of, if you're familiar with the Stampscape sizing, this would be like an E size images. It's 463E. Okay. This one's G size right here, okay? But I imagine this thing, though, underneath all this type of, night sky type things too, a Milky Way or something like that. I think that would be really cool, kind of casting its light down on this type of structuring like this. And there's a lot of tight detail in this image right here. I can't get too close right here, but that engraver got all that detail that I put into that area in the plates. I can see it in both the engraving and on the rubber. You get these plates and it has to go through 2 more generations. Okay, it has to go through the mold process, and then they got to press rubber from it. So we're talking about several generations away, but I think that this image is going to print out just like this based on what I've seen on the imagery or on the plate so far. Always have to test it out, but all that tight little detail in there. And I made this a little bit darker in the foregrounds like this, okay, on this little bridge area like this, so that it's more illuminated like that, because we're always kind of drawn to going into the light, okay, so that's why this is a little bit darker. Plus, when we have this on a card like this, you know how I always like to kind of frame things off with a little bit of a darker, perimeter like that, just for framing? That gives us that head start. So, you know what I mean? That's drawn into the design. So it takes some of the work out for all of us doing this type of thing. And it creates that visual lead in right here. So we don't have to, I would still add a little bit more tone in here, but that's giving us a head start to framing and visual draws like that, because this is lighter in here. Okay, so I thought that would be really cool as a kind of a big open area too. So I've just done this pavilion right here larger. So you can fit, some imagery in here, like a little A-size stamp, okay? It's not going to be huge, but you can fit, some smaller imagery in here, or some smaller imagery walking up to this area, like the couple or strolling, you know what I mean? Something, anything like that, okay? But, you know what I mean? See, we wouldn't put, I don't know if I'd put a person walking right here on this path, okay? It's more of an open space, more Zen-like, right? I guess this is Zen-like too, but, you don't want to have like a silhouette of a figure going up in air, because it would be going right up into this, unless you stamp this out lighter where it's, back in the mist or something like that, and you have a stronger, kind of darker silhouette right here. So this one, kind of has this open area right here, so you could stamp someone, kind of back here, kind of leading into it. Or if you have a small enough little figure right here, they can go right in there. All right. All right, so, when I was thinking, this is how I'm kind of building these types of terrains out like this mystic area right here. All this kind of water area up in here leading up into the mountains or whatnot. But these little boats like that, kind of, go into these types of areas, like around these trees and whatnot. You can put them right back here in the background like that, right? Or you saw that little, oh, where's my little mystic hidden house? See this little hidden house, right? Mystic hidden house like that. So, see that right here? It's like this little guy is going home, right? To his little chateau in the distance like that, okay? So if we're working in different sizes, all right, there's the fishing boat 2 right here. There's a little bit of reflection. Here's a real small one right that, kind of out in the distance, because often there's more than one person fishing, so they can go like that. Okay, and this one's going this way. This one has a little bit of a sail on there, but it's a little squiggly type of thing like that. That little squiggly type of thing like that, it's not, kind of this, just absent thing. When you have little elements like this that are kind of squiggling like this, it goes back to what I was talking about that visual path that you're creating by having these left and right sides sometimes in your scenes. You're giving this way to go in there, so your eye's going around like this, okay? But then if you can reiterate that in a design form right here, in a smaller way, here's this little S-curve like that that's leading up that way, and then you get this visual cue going in there, so the person's eye can kind of enter in here and kind of this graceful type of S-curve, here's the S curve kind of rated right here, and here's this area up like that, so they would lead it up into whatever you have up here, mountains or whatever. You have a word stamp like that, you know. So these little types of things, you know, they matter to me, you know, in terms of like little shadows like that, to give, you know, like the most amount of harmony inherently in our impressions. And so we don't have to do all that by, you know, post-impression coloring and whatnot. You know, we want to have a big kind of head start and kind of creating kind of the moods that we're trying to depict in our, you know, end result of our scenes and whatnot. Okay, so let's see right here. So here's a tiny pavilion like that. You know what I mean? So if you have like these hills and stuff like that, but you want some kind of small element like that, where you can have it as an afterthought or something like that. You can put that in there. But also that little type of thing like that, you can add it to, you know, these types of terrains like that. Can you see this right here? You can put that little pavilion like right at the top like that, right? So you get that type of element in, you know, the background like that. You don't even have to kind of think about it ahead of time. It just, you know, it's like a small little element that you can just pop in there. You know what I mean? If it's, you know, the terrain's missing something, I need a focal point. You know, you put a bird in there, an animal or something like that. The pavilion's like your answer to, you know, that, I don't know, well, it's definitely like Chinese type of, you know, element like that. Let's see. Palace of Heaven in Beijing. Right, right. I need to look at that, but that would be the type of thing. Mother and son. Really small element like that. See, it's like 0.3 by 0.5 inches high, so it's only a ½ inch. But sometimes, like my cabin stamp or something like that, you know, we haven't had too many elements that are so small that you can put them right next to the cabins or different types of structures. In terms of scale, I've usually had things lower down so that they're kind of going back towards something, but these ones are really small. At the end of the dirt road, if you guys know the dirt road, the curvilinear road or something like that, so we can have these smaller elements higher up on the horizon like that, you know. You know, they're going out, you know, looking at, can you imagine those guys with this, like this? Yeah, with the, you know, the giant sequoias like that. That would be rather extreme, but, you know, something like this is almost like the true scale of some of those, you know, giant, you know, living things. What is it? The tallest living things on Earth. Rafters, you know, I have a lot of canoeists and kayakers. You don't have like an inflatable like this one going down our rivers and whatnot, you know. So you got a little inflatable like that. 2 people in there too. Someone did, I often have like lone people in boats and stuff like that. And someone took and they used these person like this, and then they used a position and just stamped him again and put him in a canoe. I thought, I need to put more, you know, multi-person elements like that. So you have this in the rafters like that. Did an inflatable because, like I said, I've had hard structure types of boats and stuff before too. I've been really busy, Jeannie. Yeah, they've been flowing. So once you get kind of drawing like that, and if it's kind of coming out and, you know, things are looking good and harmonizing, you gotta keep just doing it. And that's why I haven't been on Facebook and stuff like that too much over the last. I haven't been doing too many videos. It's like I gotta keep designing while it's flowing, you know. Elk large, real similar to buck large, you know. Nothing really to be said about that. But did it on 2 different sizes like this. They're a little bit smaller than some of my other ones like that, but I had them coming in, I think, from the opposite direction like that. I don't think these are going to be in a set. The mystic ones are the natural ones that can go in a set. But I would have to do 2 sets for those, so I just didn't do that. And I don't know, it's kind of a mishmash of designs. You know, I'm not going to put the pagoda type of thing in there with the baby sea turtles or something like that, so probably not. And just some of these elements are fairly large, so I just didn't know what kind of set format, although those mystic ones are just tailor-made, but I just couldn't fit a lot of those in there. Like the G size one, it's really big. I mean, I can do them in smaller sizes and try to get them in a set, but I just didn't, I couldn't cram it together like that. Hello, hello, Cheryl. Good to see you. Okay, let's see. Someone has a kitten there, causing mischief. I agree, Debbie. Got to go with the flow. Okay, so little scuba diver like this. I used to scuba dive, so that's one of those little. I do a lot of designs, you know, for my little. I don't know. I don't know. You know, some of my deep space types of things, you know, just in terms of my own experiences and whatnot. So I'm certified with scuba. I'm not a scuba diver by any means. I've done it a few times after getting certified, but this little guy like this, kind of going out to, you know, a lake or something like that, you know, or standing on the rocks on the side of a seaside cove or something like that would be cool. You can have them, you know, kind of with a light, you know, and a nighttime type of scene. You know, you never go out scuba diving by yourself like that, you know, but you know, it's kind of a specific design, so I didn't want to have it two and have it, you know, a more expensive stamp, so I just did the single, you know, individual. You can have them, like I said, going out, you know, somewhere. They can be standing, maybe, I didn't really think about it. Probably wouldn't do it, but like in that pavilion, you know what I mean? I doubt if you'd have a scuba diver going out there, you know, off that pavilion, but you could. Okay, skier and dog, you know. This little cross-country skiing right here. He's got his, you know, skis like that. Little dog like that in a winter type of terrain. All right. And people like the dog walk type of thing. So here's your dog walk, but in the snow, we'd call it. Maybe that dog's like a husky or something like that. Had to be a dog that really enjoys the snow and, you know, is good out there. Little explorer like this. Sorry, I can't zoom in a lot closer, but he has got a ice axe in his hand. I saw a scene in an ice cave. Okay, so I like doing cave types of things, and I really see this guy standing, you know, can you imagine this in like a crystal cave? I've been mentioning that I should do something with the, let's see, I don't have that crystalline type of, this isn't it right here, but there's one that looks real icy. Do I have that? Oh, hey, wait, here I go. Okay. Not that it has to be used with this one, but I see this being used. I want to use my rock types of imagery on here to make this into like an ice cave, right? So I use my rock types of imagery in here and create a cave. And can you imagine that little guy like that, you know, in that ice cave? I think this would be this is the perfect paper for that. This is for those of you, if you haven't seen this before, this is a printable holographic vinyl sticker paper, okay? Printable is the key word to that one, okay? There's printable, I mean, there's holographic cardstocks, there's holographic sticker paper. This one's printable, okay? So you can stamp a bunch of stuff on here with no problem with just about, I would say just about any ink you want to use on there, okay? But I see this guy used in kind of that type of setting like this. Getting close to the end here. There's a lot of stamps that we've gone through. Let's see. Mountaineers like this, you know, so we have these mountains in the distance like this. You can put them on a slope as they're heading up, you know, and, you know, a mountain or whatnot. But I see them kind of down here in the mountain and meadows or something like this and having like a mountain in the background. But see these, you know, these two characters are looking at it like that's, you know, that's their destination or something like that. So it really creates a strong visual path and visual dialogue. What you have is people looking at something, right? So it creates that visual dialogue that you have in a, you know, a composition. All right. So always like these little critters like this. Backpacking family. Okay. So I have other backpackers before. I don't think I had them with kids though before like this. So that would have been me because I'm kind of the baby of my family like that, you know. Heading up a slope or whatnot, or you can just have them, you know, kind of in a meadow or something like that, kind of heading out and whatnot. But, all right, so I wanted to do a new lighthouse. This one's kind of a version of Portland Head. Anyone from Maine here? Maybe someone joined in earlier, but I edited out. There was structures over here, structures over here. There's this area down here that comes all the way down here. Got rid of it because we want, we're making a stamp out of it. So, we have to kind of have this end so you can use it coming in from the side like that if you want to, lighthouse going out like that. But everyone likes a little structuring like that. This one I did lighter, so you can have it more in the daytime. My other lighthouse too, you can use it in the daytime too, but I really had this a little bit more open. Because, again, I'm doing things a lot on these types of papers and whatnot, vinyl sticker papers and whatnot. You can kind of block this area off with white, and you can stamp this right over the top of it, and this could be, a lighthouse. Then you kind of, have beam coming out wherever you want it to go, whichever direction. But just another lighthouse, and I've left a lot of rocks open like that because I like adding in little highlights and whatnot. But I've left them open too because I'm loving coloring with my colored pencils, my long kind of, whatever unused colored pencils. This set that I have is, how old is it? 30, I don't know, it's 30 some odd years, okay? And you can see how big a lot of my pencils are. But I've been loving using them over this last year, especially on the vinyl, printable vinyls and whatnot. So I've left them a little bit more open. A lot of times in the past, I would have gone more silhouette because we're doing it on, white cardstock and whatnot. So, yeah. Froggy Fresh wants that right now. I'll get these things uploaded probably over the weekend and whatnot. I'm still working on the files. I got to get them all. I don't want some of the order and have to wait several days. We want to get these. I want a good turnaround time. So okay, so everyone knows I'm doing all those mirror cards and whatnot. I keep mentioning ice skaters over and over and over and over. So finally have some ice skaters, and they're really. I made them pretty small, so you can pop them in wherever you want to. Maybe, I don't know, maybe some of them are a little bit too small, but I'm doing all those reflection cards. All right, now these ones, this one's not, small, but you know what I mean? Like if this was a winter type of thing. But see this area down here, I mean, it's mostly been representing water, but you put your wintry type of terrain up there or something like that. But I've always wanted my little ice skaters down here because this could be a frozen lake too, and these reflection cards. So if anyone's checking this out for the first time, this is just a piece of silver cardstock on the interior of a card like this. So it's reflecting, the things that are up here. This is just a photograph of some clouds, but that little still area down here it's perfectly conducive for like ice skaters, right? Winter type of terrain. So you have these little ice dancers like that. Okay. Ice skating couple. You know what I mean? They don't look quite as proficient. That she looks like she's learning how to skate, skate, or I don't know, both of them. So it's a little bit of a different type of look than this. They could be, used together. These two could be skating in the background like this. You can have like a, you know what I mean? It's like a community skating area too, like that. And then you have an ice skating man. We want variety. Okay, that little shadow is not on the design. It's just that little top area like that. So very proficient. I see this guy though. Get this, okay? So I have this guy on a lake like this, okay? And can you imagine kind of a tree-lined area in there? You know what I mean? I don't see these ice skaters. Okay, you know what I mean? I do see stamping, so I don't see them as like being in a rink, like an ice skating rink. So I see this like on a frozen lake or something like that. Or you can have that, river or something like that, from Nature Set #1 and make that a frozen river, but then there's trees up here. But can you imagine this like on a moon or something like this on a dark night and having this illuminated down here? I think that would look really cool in terms of drama. Okay, so you know what I mean? I'm thinking about this like that, and it's fairly silhouette like that. And you can do a little shadow down here or whatnot. But I see that as really, kind of a cool opportunity for like I said, those reflection cards or, I don't know, a really dramatic moment. Like I often have horseback riders out at the nighttime or something like that. Yeah. And then you got Ice Skating Woman right here. So she is a little bit more open with her, her top, so you can color whatever color you want in here. She looks like she's doing, you know what I mean, like in an ice skating ring. She's getting ready. She's setting up, or she's either setting up for, a little twirl or jump, or she's landing. Okay. So, you know what I mean? I want all these little figures to have a little something different from one to the next. You know what I mean? Not just, the same thing over and over and over again. So, you know, very, proficient skaters, you're casual, couple going out in the ice. I guess you can do it like this too, where you're just doing one like that, I don't want that couple. I just want that, her on there. Actually, she would be kind of cool too. This would be perfect for that quote stamp, like a, whatever, something, path, begins with, like your first step or something like that, however that quote goes, because she's like, you know what I mean? She's balancing out, you know what I mean? So, or you can have her like that, in that quote stamp, path of whatever, begins with the first step, and you can have her doing that in the background, you know what I mean? Where she's like learning, and you know what I mean? Here she is right here later on, if it's the same person. Let's see, like this. I guess, I guess you can do this too on their own. I don't know if I'd use these skaters, I guess you can do them. I guess, like, I mean, that really looks like they're skating to me, but I guess they could be, like, out just walking, you know what I mean? That'd be, her positioning and balance like that would be kind of strange. Unless you have them on, like, have them, like, on a branch. Where they're, balancing or something like that. So anyway, those are a lot of designs like that. 0.7 by 0.8. All those different sizes will be on there on the stamp modules like that. But a lot of different designs. So this is what I've been doing of late. Not just designing, designing is like one thing. It's like the plate layouts, the website HTML. I just named them all a couple days ago, just flipping through. Okay, let's say, what should that one be named and whatnot. And then, oh gosh, just the different HTML coding, especially if you don't do it for a while. This one took me forever to do, getting all those angles and all those windows like that. Then I had to do, it's like you do the trim on one window, even though these are really dinky. It's like, okay, I got to trim, like, put the trim on, like, all of them, okay? And it's like, how do we do, do we do the light like that? I want it open too, so there's all the little considerations like that. I've only done one lighthouse before, so it's always kind of the challenge on to leave it open or not, because if you're going to have like a light in there, doing it in dark type of, nighttime type of situation, you don't want to have it, that little area in there, dark, like it's in, you know what I mean? Like a daytime lighthouse or something like that. So there's all those little considerations like that go into these types of designs. And I'm not an architect or something like that, but just trying to get all these little angles and stuff like that right. See, like that little rooftop there should be the same type of roof as that. But if I do it like that, it's just going to be this black area in there, so you're not going to be able to see the dimensions. So it's like I just added like a little bit of tone up there instead, so you can see that little, I forget what you call those. It's not a dormer, or is it? I forget what you call those areas, those houses that have that little area sticking out like that, So all those little types of things that, I kind of, I don't know, linger on for a long time just to make sure that it's right. And things like getting the perspective right on like the windows on the side of that like that. On these ones, though, I did do those darker windows like that for a daytime type of thing. I didn't leave them open, so if you do these in a daytime or a nighttime type of thing and you want to illuminate those windows from within, then use your acrylic paint pens or something like that, or the white or something like that. You know, if you're going to darken in the side and have light coming from within there, then use something like this, you know, and lighten them up. That's the type of challenge. See, if I leave it open like that, then it, you know, someone would have to color those in dark for a daytime type of thing. So those are like the challenge types of things that I'm always kind of wondering about when I'm designing these for us, because we want to make these as user-friendly as possible, where I'm removing a lot of the tedium out of the usage, because I'm going to be using this too. So I want it to be, you know, as universal and, you know, whatever as possible. You know, I guess if you're going to do this too, I guess, you know, when you stamp this out, if you're coloring in like this and just coloring this in with a black pad, I guess you can kind of wipe off those windows like that and then take your pen, you know, if you have coloring pens and you want to, I don't know, you want to put that one little illuminated room up top there, you can color those in. So just so those print out yellow instead of, you know, darker tone or something of that sort, you know. But I don't know, I can't wait to use these. And especially I get really excited when I see, you know, just the job they did with the engravings and getting that type of detail in there, you know, because I really spend a lot of time, you know, trying to figure out the screen percentage of, you know, how many dots should I put in there, because when it gets put into an engraving, it might get filled in completely where you don't have all that kind of open area. So it's leaving it open enough to where it reads in an engraving, right? Because they're printing this on a magnesium plate and they're, you know, acid etching in there. But if they leave the acid etching too long in here to get some of that detail, then you'll lose these outside areas then there, because those are getting eaten away by the acid. So you have to have that balance with just the right amount of tone in here for your, like your shadows and whatnot, but you don't want them just completely black. So you want 80% grays and 70% grays and all that. This is getting a little technical, but what I'm getting at is, you know, I looked at the plates and I can see that detail in there where they didn't lose, you know, other portions of it. So, you know, I'm really looking forward to using them all. And like I said, I can just take a look at the plates a lot of times. I always say that you can't really tell until you make the impressions of how these are going to print out and whatnot, but I'm fairly confident that there's not going to be any problem with this type of detailing in here. And again, that's one of those things that I really struggle with. So you'll start here, you can put this like this in here too. You know, and where this is like a little island in here. Like I said, you know, the left and right sides have been designed to where, you know, you can pair them up that way. But, you know, for the most part, they're kind of more of an inlet thing like that. So this is the first time I'm kind of folding it over like that. You know, because after I did like some tweaks on them, I would put those trees like that. I wouldn't have them like that, you know, with that tree like that. So you kind of have them overlapping. So this tree would be going in here like that. So anyways, I hope that, you know, I mean, it remains to be seen. We got to, you know, got to put these designs in application, but I hope you guys like what you've seen. Let's see. What do we got here? Dutch Scenes, Hans Brinker, skating rink. Yeah, let me see. Laura, do I know that artist? Sounds familiar. There was this, what was it? Those genre paintings, you know, where you see like people with their, you know, ice skating and winter types of whatever, social types of things. That's what I'm thinking about with that. Let's see. I'm going back over your comments in here now. Walking past here in the woods that turned into skating paths. Oh, that would be awesome, Janet. Like a frozen, you know, area flanked, you know, to each side of the, you know, like a forested area or something like that. I haven't seen that before, but that'd be really cool. I was watching this video of these ice skaters on like just the right amount of ice where it sounds like when they're skating over it, there's this like whipping sound going, these with these fissures or something like that. It's safe to skate on, but there's these little fissures or something like that. But I thought, oh my God, that looks so awesome, to do that on it. So I don't know, like going back to that word zen-like, you know what I mean, in terms of some sort of experience, of someone out on doing that type of activity or in that location is so cool. Let's see. Glad you like them, Linda B. Froggy Fresh's Saint Bernard loves the kitten. Saint Bernards always seem like such a mellow type of breed to me. It seems like they would like just about any type of animal, unless they're threatening whatever the Saint Bernard is protecting, maybe like a wolf. Hello, Vintage Scrap Girl. Good to see you. Glad you like them, Lisa. I can't wait to use the Mystic ones too, Laura. Those ones, I love all those types of paintings. And I've wanted to do those designs for like 20 years. So I finally found kind of some structuring for these ones right here. And plus, like I said, it's a kind of a little bit of a different way of structuring a scene. If people wanted to use them that way, you can use them traditionally and whatnot. But like I said, I think these would look really good with this misty type of fog, coming out of the mist, where, these things are kind of separated, in terms of your elements. But instead of the terrain in here, I mean, you can connect these up with as much terrain as you want, but they can be totally separated with kind of this mystical air, you know what I mean? Which is just the white of the page or something like that. I would add in a little bit of tone or something like that, or you can add in really light, cloudy types of foggy areas in there, like a ripped kind of paper towel technique that often people do for your sky, but now you can do it down in the terrain like this as well. So yeah, I am really psyched about that. I didn't get around to cutting. I just started cutting the rubber on these things, and there's a gazillion, as you can see, images to cut out. So I thought, okay, maybe I'll do some impressions, but I just didn't get around to it. And I thought, I got to jump on this live stream and do this. So I thought, let's just show them the designs. Sometimes I don't like to do that before everything is completely done, but I'm confident at the with the plates and everything like that, and the detailing. The detailing looks really good in the rubber. But like I said, we'll test them out and whatnot. I think I have a lot of the next video will probably be some stamp sketching. I'll probably use the Mystic ones or something like that too. I'll just do some just general compositions and whatnot. I think these stamp sketches though with the mystical ones, I think they're going to be, if we want them to be, you know what I mean? They're going to be a lot closer to the final whatever result than a lot of the other stamp sketch. I do a stamp sketch or something like that, little layout, and I like to really finish it off and whatnot. But these ones, with that negative space in there, it's mostly coloring in these little open areas like that with whatever color scheme you want to use. So, and a lot of those, those pen and ink, or not pen and ink, but ink paintings of these types of terrains like this. Oftentimes it's like grayscale, and they look really good like that. I would probably add on a little bit of a warmth or something like that with a distress ink or something like that, giving my grayscale areas a little bit more richness and warmth, antique linen for a warm look or something like that, or, your blue toned, what was that? Old, not tumbled glass. Yeah, I'm trying to remember the names of these things. I haven't been stamping as much as I have in this last few weeks because of these designs, but a little bit of richness like that in your foggy terrain and whatnot. And I think this type of thing like this, when you have areas that are just so much, there's a lot of sky or there's a lot of atmospheric types of mist, typically in the past it's been clouds or something like that, or fog that I've been adding in. These types of things are really perfect for quote stamps too, because they're really evocative like that. So, atmospheric and evocative, is, you know what I mean? It's perfect for your word stamps. Maybe you stamp in a word stamp right here and you put that word stamp in a little bit of you know, fog as well. Like it's kind of suspended within the fog or something like that too. Things like this too, I think would look great in a reflection card down below too. So you can put some really fog up here. Even just one stamp like this, stamped over like a darker paper, you can bring out some of the whites in this down here. But can you imagine like this big moon like this in a reflection card with just the stamp right here? And you get these trees reflecting this moon down here, and you can put a quote stamp coming across that moon or something of that sort. So, I don't know. Oh my God. If I didn't have enough to stamp already, there's a gazillion things coming to mind just looking at these for me, I've been thinking about little technical things like, tone and stuff like that, but now kind of looking at like this and talking about them out loud is really kind of giving me some additional application types of ideas, when it comes to the usage of them. Hello, Christine. Glad you like them. Let's see. When can we order that? Jeannie, I'll probably have them up on Sunday, I'm guessing sometime. I'm going to try to get it over the weekend. I got to get everything trimmed out. I need to test everything, you know what I mean? I quality test everything for like, detailing and stuff like that. I got to make sure everything stamps out, 100%. So I got my work cut out for me between now and kind of Sunday, but I have a lot of the code already written, and it's just a matter of uploading it to the website and whatnot. So they'll be in the new stamps section, but I'll also have them all in the other categories by size and everything like that. And by code is the best way of checking out the news section like that. So they should be up there sometime like that. Don't check it super early though on Sunday though, because I don't know how much I can get done tomorrow. Like I said, I've got all that rubber to cut out, but and like I said, I'm going to test all of them too. Everything has to be perfect, in terms of that. When it comes to applications and things like that, I always say, there's a lot of freedom in that, but I'm really anal when it comes to like everything about my designs before they're completely released. So, yeah. So like in the areas like this, I just got to make sure the ink doesn't puddle and stuff like that. And if they got all that detail in there just right, it's little things like that, or little figures and things like that too. Froggy Fresh likes that larger bear tree. That bear tree like that, these ones right here? This is what I was thinking. So the art foamies, they're ready for some new designs, and they've been ready for them for a long time. But I was thinking, well, why don't we wait for some of my new designs? Because some of my new designs, I wouldn't mind having them in that art foamies larger scale version. So I was thinking about that too. I haven't done art foamies in the past before when I've been designing stamps. So some of these stamps, like like the large, where is it? Tree. See, I don't even know that it named the codes yet here, what number it was. Oh, okay, something like this. I think that would look awesome, like this big. You know what I mean? That tree right there. I've been loving working with the huge like tree trunks, okay? But I think something like this, this is like, a G-size stamp right here. But if this was like this big or something like that from top to bottom, I think that would be awesome to work with, especially when we're working in a larger format, half-page scenes or something like this. Or you just have the top of it, if it's a really big version. So it's like and you can put it down here in the foreground like this, like we're looking at a vantage point from on top, down at the terrain or something like that. So I don't know. This is one that I'm considering, bringing up with KP about an art foaming design. Also the bamboo one, those bamboo leaves like that. If those were larger too, to really push scale and depth in a scene on these mystic scenes, I think that would be kind of fun. So this one's already pretty big, but the leaves are really small. Or even if it was just like a smaller section like that, right there, but these ones were like really big, you know? So the leaf would be, I don't know, like the size of like something like this. And I guess it'd be thicker than that. Would be really great from foregrounds. Because, you know, you can have something really close to you looking way back in the distance, like into, you know, these mystic hills or something like that. You know, if you have a leaf like this, larger in the foreground like that, against that background, then you're pushing depth. You've expanded your, whatever your focal range or whatever your, it's not really depth of view, but, you know, just your range of imagery within that space would be kind of cool. So, all right, let's see. Laura, someone asked about that before, and the mystic ones would really be the ones that make sense in terms of a set. But these images like this, they're too big for the sets. I would be able to fit like 2 images on there. See, I would like flip it around or something like that. Then I would go like that, but then it would give me like room for like 2 of these. And one thing about when I'm doing the sets is I have to get enough imagery on those sets where it saves, you know, someone a lot of, you know what I mean? A decent portion than if they bought them individually. But these ones, I couldn't get them configured. The sets, my size sets are like 6x9 for the most part. And I don't know, I guess, I don't know, if I did these like smaller ones like that, you know, but then, you know what I mean? I don't know if people would want, these kind of go with, I don't know, there's just so many. I couldn't fit them in there, you know what I mean? I tried, because I like doing sets, you know? It's easier for me too. If someone wants all those designs or most of them, then you pull one sheet, you know, instead of pulling like a bunch of individual designs. But I just couldn't get it, you know what I mean? These images are they're kind of at awkward sizes for sets, okay? Because there's a lot of this kind of negative space silhouette in here, okay? That's another thing when I'm working on designs. It's not just the, you know, the imagery like that, but it's these interesting negative spaces in here. And I really wanted to get that right on all these pieces like that, you know? So it makes it hard to configure it because they don't just, you know what I mean? It's not like my sky stamps where it's a bunch of rectangles, you know, that fits into a rectangular, you know, 6x9 space real easily or something like that. So I don't know, I just couldn't get it like that. And then, you know what I mean? Like the rest of them, you know, I just don't, you know what I mean? I'm not going to put the, you know, I guess we could have gone, I don't know, I guess there could have been, nah, I didn't have any, I don't know, I don't see myself putting those winter ash trees, you know what I mean, with, you know, my, you know, or my winter little characters. They're kind of like different, you know what I mean, in terms of ice skaters and little characters like that. So probably not. That's my long story, but I struggled over that though, you know what I mean? Because I always want that, I always try to get things really configured for everyone, but I don't know, it was just such a mishmash this time, and I went off on these different tangents, you know what I mean? There's no place to put the like the lighthouse thing, you know what I mean? And then there's the pavilions. They really go well with these types of imageries like this, but you know what I mean? They're I don't know, the pavilions are in different sizes, and you know what I mean? This one, it's really hard to fit that with other, you know what I mean, mountains or something like that, although they all go together. There's just, I don't know, there's just too many. It would have to be like a 3-plate set or something like that. So, I don't know, I just couldn't figure it out. Then I didn't know who would want, you know what I mean, which one of these kind of resonate with the viewer, you know what I mean? Do they want it with the pathway, if anything, you know what I mean? Or do they want it smaller where this could fit into more different terrain? This one's more dominant and definitely a focal point. This is a focal point too, but it, you know, you can fit more of the terrain around it, especially if you're working on a, you know, 1/4-page card or something like that. And then there's the larger one. And then, like I said, there's the smaller one too that can go into a lot of different places. So anyway, yeah. All right, so let's see. Hello, Paulette. I hope that, yeah, it's releasing some creative vibes in me. I definitely am picturing how I'm going to use these when I'm doing them, but uh, um, let's see. I forgot what camera I was going to start my other camera here. Oh, okay, I'm not going to start my other camera because I might lose my other camera going on right here. But anyways, yeah. I can't wait to use these. I think they really, you know what I mean? I've been thinking about some different imagery for a very long time now, and I think it's going to really, be something fun to explore, especially the mystic ones, in kind of a little bit of a different way, because like I said, I'm doing these things with the idea of these ones are this, by the way, the mystic ones are really going to be perfect for kind of vertical pieces too. Like I said, that staggering type of thing. But what I'm getting at is I'm designing these things with, like I said, foils in mind. Golden ones, stamping these things out in white, in black, you know what I mean? Not just in black, you know what I mean? Using dark papers and whatnot, you know what I mean? Different ways. And like I said, the printable vinyls and stuff like that have really got me thinking about a lot of different ways that we can use imagery now, just due to availability of different media and surfaces. It's really exciting these days, with the holographics and the vinyl sticker papers and the printable vinyl sticker papers. I don't know. Linda B, have you used that the vinyl sticker? I haven't seen you use that vinyl sticker paper, that starry one, in a while. Yeah, you might have. I don't know. I haven't seen it, but I love that paper. Then those scenes that you did where you stamped something out and you used, you cold laminated the vinyl sticker paper right over the top of it. I love that look too. So, I'm thinking about like stuff like that when, we're doing these types of things. Hello, Bugs. Let's see. I like the sled too. Yeah, I love like having kids in my scenes. So I'm doing, all things, but little kids, I don't know. I think it just adds that it adds a different spirit when you have like little kids in scenes, It's a different kind of emotional vibe, I guess you can say, Animals too, like the dog and stuff like that. Where did my little guys go? Let's see. Going way back. Gosh, we got a lot of new designs. What number was it? There's so many, I can't even find it here. Oh my gosh. Was it after the ice skaters, or was it before the ice skaters? There's so many designs. I lost the paper. Oh, here we are. It's right here. They were much earlier on. Yeah, but this little guy like that. Well, it'd be fun, to dark. Like I said, he's kind of illuminated them. That little transition right here of dark to light like that. I really spent a ton of time on just how much darkness to put on there. So it's that little transition on there. So that's one of the first things I looked at when I got the plates. Did they get that tone right in there, And they did. So, yeah. And then also that line right there. It's a delicate, like, string there. So I looked to see if that got broken up on the plates or if that was solid or not. And I don't know, they got it just fine. So they probably do a lot more, much more, detailed, intricate work than what I send them, So, yeah, I can't wait to use that little guy like that. The other one that had the, the fishing rod too. I don't know, a little kid like that in the country thing. It's probably just like a branch or something like that. That's what it would represent. But I had to make sure that they got that down just right as well. Oh, an 11 by 17, Linda. Yeah. Definitely full size though, ability. You know what I mean? With ease. All of these designs, have been designed, with a quarter page card in mind. You know what I mean? like this or whatever. But now, yeah, a lot of people are doing like larger formats, half page, full page things. I don't know, Jeannie. I don't know if Jeannie's still watching. Jeannie's like, I don't know what percentage you're doing, Jeannie, but it seems like it's, I don't know, 90% full page artwork these days. So filling in a lot more. So on something like this, you can have like a much wider area, but it can go in like this, where you have this little tight inlet or something like that, you know, with this waterway or something like that. Could even just be a river, you know, the wider you space these things out like this, you know, the larger body of water, but it can also be kind of a much more intimate little creek or something like that if you put these like this with a little bit of space in between. I mean, you could connect them too, you know. But yeah, and don't forget about this right here. Remember, they've been designed to be kind of connected up this way too, so they're not just on opposing sides. You can have these in the middle like this. Linda's done this before on her 11 by 17s, where she's connected up like this and created an island, but then she has this coming in from the outside areas like that. So I don't do 11 by 17s too much, you know, but when I do them, they're pretty fun to do, and they're kind of liberating in some ways, you know, just in terms of what we can do with stamps and as far as the compositions go. So, yes, Shirley, these are the new stamps coming out, and they might be out as early as Sunday. So, like I said, got to test them all out and everything like that. Trim them. There's a lot of work to be done with that. And like I said, I almost have most of the code written for the website as well. So using the vinyl non-printable coming soon while I wait for your new stamps. I was just, yeah. Linda, I love that starry look that you gave, you know, with that vinyl sticker paper, basically, you know, that was really awesome, I thought. Because, you know, it had little twinkly areas like in the open areas, like down here. But you couldn't see the film, though. It was like invisible, where you had the darker things in the background like that. Anyways, we're talking about some other things like that. But I don't know. If anyone's on Facebook or anything like that, join the Stampscapes 2 Facebook group, and you'll see all these different types of a huge variety of usages of... oh, here's some of my word stamp things that I was doing for my other pieces from a couple weeks ago. But yeah, join that, or you can see some Linda, you're still posting on Flickr. Linda's got that Flickr account, but most people post. A lot of people in here are posting on the Stampscapes Facebook group, you know, and you can see so many different techniques and different looks to the, you know, with the applications of the designs, the existing designs. And I think it'll, you know what I mean? If you know what I mean? Some people say, hey, I don't want to join, you know, social media and stuff. I totally get it. I didn't do a lot on Facebook for a long time. But the Yahoo Stampscapes Facebook group, you know what I mean? Yahoo got rid of groups. So we came over to Facebook, and you know, there's just some really awesome things being posted on here. So I'll need to see that too. You know what I mean? I just got these designs. You know, I'll be, you know, experimenting with these as well. But it's really great to see new designs and how people use them as well. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people have like way different techniques than I do, media used and usages, and they'll discover, you know, what these things can be done just, you know, as, you know, I do. You know, a lot of times it's a lot more creative than me, because sometimes I'm reasonably creative in terms of the usages of my designs, but sometimes I get a little locked into my initial concept of how they can be used, you know, based on a lot of the different reference materials that I've been looking at. But then someone will do something, it's like, oh my God, I've never seen something like, you know, that stamp used like that before. Or, like I said, in a different surface media combination, it's like, oh my God, we're seeing like a design used in an entirely new light. But with the new designs, you know, they'll all be in a new light. And, you know, I can't wait to see it, and can't wait to try it out too, you know, myself. So I don't know. Yeah. So I tried to make these ones, like I said, as evocative as possible. I keep using that word, but you know what I mean? You want people to be look at something and really feel compelled to, to use it and try it and experiment with it in different ways and whatnot. So, yeah, really looking forward to using these things. I can't wait. And like I said, I was going to print some out, but I was like, I got to keep trimming rubber and working on the the HTML code and stuff like that, and adding it all to the everything that I need to do for a new release. So yeah. All right. Let's see. Complicated life. Time to get back into it, Shirley. Get your fingers inky. Even though do a little small thing or something like that, or try out some like those printable holographic vinyls. Those things are amazing to stamp on. You know what I mean? If you haven't tried something like that out yet, it's I don't know, it's just so much fun seeing new types of looks coming from, basically a lot of the same types of techniques that you've been using. It's just on a different surface, So, like things like that, and I don't know, the northern light pillars. Janet gave me that term, Janet P here. She told me about light pillars, and that's what this paper looks like, light pillars. I don't know if this one right here, I don't know if it's really great for any of these designs because these are a little bit more open, but you'd have to do some blocking out. It's less silhouette on them. Yeah, I don't know, I guess those trees like that would be okay. But anyway, okay, so thanks so much for, watching. I don't know if anyone has had any more questions and whatnot, but look to, I don't know, a couple days probably. Not early Sunday, but like I said, my goal was to get these posted over the weekend sometime. I can't wait to fill in these little leaves right here too, coloring in like that. Like I said, I haven't done that type of thing before, but my foreground elements, they're typically dark, more silhouette, so we can just stamp them down. But like I said, I've been doing more, colored pencil work and whatnot, lately. Different types of trees, like I said, I mean, we've seen bare trees a gazillion times and, stamping before, but, I don't know, a little bit of a different look like that. A different type of tree, you know what I mean? So, yeah. All right. Hope everyone has a great rest of evening or rest of the afternoon down in Australia. I don't know, maybe it's afternoon for someone, late afternoon for anyone else here. But yeah, thanks much for joining in. Thanks for checking out the video, and hope you like the new designs. Drop me a note with any questions. Yeah, I can't wait to see you use them too, Jeannie. Good night, everyone. Good night, Froggy Fresh. I don't know if you're done with that pizza yet. That made me hungry thinking about it, though. Thanks, Vintage Craft Girl. All right, thanks, everyone. See ya on the next stamp sketching video using a lot of the new designs. It's probably going to have to be broken up. There's so many of them. All right, good night, everyone.